One of the very best bucking horse raisers in the world. Thank you, Glenn. God bless you, brother. Thank you.
Yes, yes, y'all. About to go on the air. Just me by myself tonight. Get the joint going. As soon as this finishes it up. Yes, yes, y'all. What's going on? It's the Keep It 1 Million show with Sean P. Dwayne is off for the night. And we are going to get into some good sports topics. Like we said in the bar, like I said in the billboard. We talk about Nico Harris. We're going to talk about Steph Curry. We're going to talk about Brian DABOLL. We're going to talk about that brawl as well, the HBCU brawl. First, we're going to get into Nico Harris. You are Nico Harris. Okay, what happened to Nico Harris? He got relieved of his duties from the Dallas Mavericks as the general manager. Everybody has an opinion about it. As far as me, I never wanted to see him get fired, but that was a disastrous trade that happened. That happened last season. He traded Luka Doncic. He traded one of the best players in the league, and he got Anthony Davis for him. But he got Anthony Davis. Charles Barkley calls him street clothes, and he calls him street clothes for a reason because he's in street clothes right now. He came back a little chunky this year, and isn't that the reason why you got rid of Luka Doncic? Now, I would have loved to see them hold on to Luka Doncic over the summer and maybe play for Giannis. Maybe get Giannis into the mix. That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome to see. I mean, can you imagine that? Giannis with Kyrie, a healthy Kyrie. You have to understand that. Nico also picked up Klay Thompson, and Klay Thompson, quite honestly, he's a Hall of Famer, but he was on his last leg. I mean, he was one half of the Splash Brothers. With respect, I mean, he was one half of that. He was a good defender, and if he wouldn't have got hurt in that title game in this series against Toronto, dare I say, they would have won if him and KD wouldn't have got hurt, especially more so KD than him. But if they wouldn't have got hurt, they wouldn't have. They would have won that in 4, possibly 4, but they probably would have won that in 5. I mean, man, Clay was cold when he was young. He got hurt. He tore his ACL. Then when he was rehabbing that, he ruptured his Achilles. And Golden State still gave him a deal, even though he was hurt and rehabbing. They gave him that. They gave him the respect. They gave him respect on that, what he did. And then all of a sudden, it just went awry. Then Dallas picked him up, and you see that that was all, I believe that was all Nico, and he picked him up, and that didn't work out so hot, but Nico was there when they went to a championship, but this all wasn't Nico either. Ownership had to sign off on it. Ownership could have said nah, but they didn't. They didn't say nah. Nico also drafted Cooper Flag, which that was considered the number 1 pick. I mean, he couldn't mess that up. But Cooper Flag is having a little bit of trouble a little bit of trouble acclimating to the NBA, which many Duke players have had. You know, Christian Laettner, Bobby Hurley. Now, Bobby Hurley did get hurt uh, in his career, and so did J.J. Williams, so you can't hold that against him. But a lot of Duke players have had trouble transitioning, and now Grant Hill is the exception. Grant Hill was that dude. If Grant Hill never got hurt, he'd be probably top five. I mean, you can't deny that. But Nico did get Kyrie. He got Kyrie Irving. But Kyrie Irving, when he's healthy, he's phenomenal when he's healthy. Phenomenal. I mean, do you know anybody that can pat the ball like that? That can he's excellent around the rim. I mean, one of the most skilled players out there, but he's getting older and he's injured a lot. And he showed you what he could do. He did get to the finals with Dallas. He showed you what he could do with a good running mate, but you know they got beat by Boston, and that was a real tough series. They just got washed by Boston. And then Luka going to the Lakers. Now here's the interesting thing about that. Luka with the Lakers, I believe they are 8-3 right now, either 8-3, 9-3, something like that, and the Mavericks are 3-9 or 3-8. Now, if the Mavericks would have been 8-3, if they would have had a winning record, Nico would still have his job. But they don't have a winning record. I believe they just gave Jason Kidd an extension, so they wasn't gonna fire him. And Jason Kidd's a good coach. They are more than likely going to blow this up and just build around Cooper Flag. But I really wanted to see what this looked like with a healthy Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. I really wanted to see that. And the thing about Nico, everyone, is he has a history of missteps. You know, I don't know if you all know this or not, but he was part of the Nike team that blew it with Steph Curry. He mispronounced Stephen Curry's name. It's Stephen Curry, not Stephen Curry. It's Stephen Curry. He mispronounced his name, and he also showed clips of Kevin Durant instead of Stephen Curry. It's stuff like that that makes you think. It used to be a song called "Things That Make You Go Arsenio Hall used to do that, and CNC Music Factory came out with a song, "Things That Make You Go you know, and you start to think, does Nico have a grip on things? I mean, it's bad because the Mavericks literally let everybody know that they was going to fire this guy like at 10 p.m. Central Time, something like that. That's crazy. I mean, anybody that dealt with a job, dealt with HR, those, like, when you get that call, hey, we need to talk to you or whatever, like, most people like, hey, whatever you got to say to me, you can say it with the phone, you know, or, you know, you walk to the office, then you have to do that walk of shame. Somebody else is cleaning out your cubicle, they handing you your box of stuff, and then they escort you out of the building with security. That's what they did to Chris Carter at Fox a few years ago. I mean, it's embarrassing. Yeah, it is truly embarrassing, and you're just like, oh man. So this is what's happening to Nico. Now, will he get another chance? Maybe. I mean, he's not going to get it this year, or maybe not even next year. But he'll probably get another chance, and they'll probably be with a team that's not very good, and see what he could do with that. But it's going to be some time. It's going to be some time because that was a colossal thing he did. He did by trading Luka. Like I said, if they would have waited it out, like if they would have just been like, let's wait until the summertime, figure this out, and I'm just thinking in my head, man, if they would have got Giannis, cause Luka for Giannis, trade for trade. You know, you weren't trying to give Luka the big deal. Giannis come down. I don't know how that would have worked with the cap or anything, but man, that would have been something right there, just to see how that would have worked out. It's interesting because with this young talent like Cooper Flag, young talent needs stability. I mean, you see it down in San Antonio, Victor Wembanyama and the guy Castle. They call him Area 15, 1 and 5. You know, Wembanyama's 1 and Castle's 5. I mean, you see what they're doing in San Antonio. San Antonio always seems to have it together. I mean, they let's be clear. They got lucky with Tim Duncan. I mean, like David Robinson went down with an injury, they blew it up. They said, okay, let's whatever. They got the number 1 pick and they picked Tim Duncan. I'm a Sixer fan, so I remember, man, we had the number 2 pick and everybody was praying that we got the number 1 pick because we would have paired up Allen Iverson with Tim Duncan, which probably worked out for the best because I don't know if Tim Duncan would have got 5 rings with the Sixers, you know. But hey, that's neither here nor there. But they got Tim Duncan, then they ended up drafting Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Kawhi Leonard, and they built a dynasty. They don't talk about that dynasty, that Spurs dynasty. A lot of times they hate on that Spurs dynasty because they say they never won a back-to-back. But within the Tim Duncan era, they won 5 titles. 5. And he got drafted in 97. I can't remember when he retired, but he got drafted in 97. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the greatest power forward to ever play the game. Yes, he is to me the greatest power forward to ever play the game, the big fundamental. You know, so the way the Spurs do things, they're revolutionary. I mean, they had Becky Hammond on the staff, and she was primed to take Pop's place, but they let her go to the WNBA, and she ended up coaching the Las Vegas Aces. Has 3 championship rings with the Las Vegas Aces. So she's a great coach. She's part of that. She's part of the Pop tree. She's part of the Pop tree. I mean, and then Pop knew what he was doing when he was picking these international players. I mean, he shows you the blueprint. Shows you the blueprint, and Wembanyama is one of them. You know the NBA is trying to do this USA versus the world, and I believe it shouldn't be the NBA versus the world. It should be not the NBA, the USA, excuse me, versus the world. It should be North America versus the world, so you can add Canada, because if it's just the US, they're gonna lose. I mean, shoot, they got Wemby, they got Wembanyama. Oh man, they got Luka, they got Joker, SGA, Austin Reeves. I mean, come on, just too many. Too many. This is not the dream. This is not the dream team of '92 going against Angola anymore. This is serious, y'all. And Luka's one of those guys, and they let him get away. They let him straight up get away. I get it. I get it. Y'all wanted them to stay in shape. Y'all wanted them to be in shape. I get it. But, I mean, just a lot of missteps. And I believe it's going to affect NICO for years to come. Now, he might have to take like assistant roles, like assistant GM and stuff like that, before he can ever get that main spot again. And I'm not going to make this a black-white issue. Nah, we're not doing that. Nah, it's because this is simple and plain. He made a mistake, and ownership made a mistake by going along with him. Ownership could have said nah, but they didn't. So, you know what rolls downhill. You know what? It just rolls downhill, and it is what it is, man. So we're gonna go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about Steph Curry. I'm about to go back on. Okay, we are back. We are back. We are back. We are back. This is Sean P with the Keep It 1 Million show. Dwayne is off right now. He will be back next week. And we got some news that Steph Curry is leaving Under Armour. He wants to leave to start his own standalone brand. And like I said in the billboard, if anyone could do it, he could do it. You have to understand this sneaker game is big, and it was all started by Michael Jordan. He showed you how to do it. Incidentally, Magic Johnson told a story of when he was young and came into the league as a rookie, that Converse offered him a contract, a sneaker deal, and he jumped in. He was young. He never saw that much money. But then Nike came to him and was like, "Hey, we want to sign you. We're up and coming. We want to sign you. We can't give you as much money as Converse, but we can give you all these stock options." Now, he was real young, like a lot of people. It's not a black or white thing. It's like a lot of young people don't understand stock, where you own part of the company. And he didn't understand that, and in today's money, it would have been worth like gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs of money. And he laughed about it. He said, "Man, I mean," but he's a billionaire now. But he was like, "Man, I could have been like owned a decent portion of Nike." That's crazy. That is absolutely bonkers. that could have happened. But that's why they say the more you know, the more you know. What they say in G.I. Joe, knowing's half the battle. So that's why I teach my son and my daughter a lot of things. And my oldest daughter, she's 22. She's on it. she's on it. Says that she wants to not have to work past the age of 40, and I want that for her as well. So Stephen Curry, he's already created generational wealth, but he's going even further right now. And he is starting his own standalone brand, like Patrick Ewing did years ago. But first, Michael Jordan, he made this sneaker thing pop. And there's a lot of players that try to do a standalone, but they just didn't have a name for it. You have to have a name for that. You have to have a really strong name. Now, Jordan is with Nike, but when you say Jordans, you don't say. We used to say Nike Air Jordans, and we used to say just Air Jordans. Now we call them Jordans. Now we just call them J's. Everybody knows about J's. Even my son. I mean, my children. They know. Oh, I want those J's. They know. He actually knows who Michael Jordan is. I mean, it's synonymous, and it's always going to be synonymous. So that's what Steph is attempting to do, and that's what Steph is going to do. Steph Curry is big enough to do this. He's doing what LeVar Ball was attempting to do. The misstep with LeVar Ball was his personality was so abrasive, it just turned people off, where Steph Curry's personality is not abrasive. Now, is he a monster on the court? Is he an assassin? Yes, the babyface assassin. But he's not abrasive, and that's what LeVar Ball was. He was just abrasive. A lot of people didn't want to do business with him, and this is what LeVar Ball attempted to do, but his son didn't have that name yet. Now, if his son would have, Zoe, Zoe, right? He got hurt, so it's more so LaMelo now. I believe LaMelo got his own sneaker, but it's tough when you don't have that name. But Patrick Ewing did it. See, Patrick Ewing sneakers, people still buy those, and he had the Ewings. I remember the posters. He was like sitting on the buildings in New York, and you saw his sneakers. You can still buy them online. They're not too terribly expensive, but people still rock them to this day. You see people on, and they dope. They straight. And he was one of the few players that could have his own standalone brand. But there were some other iconic sneakers out there. They were. I don't know if y'all remember the Bo Jacksons, the Bo cross trainers. Charles Barkley had a pair of like cross trainer like sneakers, very popular. I remember his and Bo's. They had the strap that went across the toe. It went across the toe. That was dope. They had Walter Payton had the Kangaroos. The Kangaroos. Isaiah Thomas had Asics. The Reebok, we went to Shaq had his Reeboks, but Reggie Lewis had Reebok. Allen Iverson. Oh man, I'm from Philly, man. When Iverson dropped those first ones, oh my goodness. I never had the first ones. I got my daughter a pair of the first ones back when she was like in middle school. But I had the ones that were like the black and gold ones. Those were the second ones. I had those, man. And people fail to realize that there were football players wearing Jordans on the football field, because back then they had AstroTurf, so you didn't have to wear cleats on AstroTurf. So I remember I saw Ronnie Lott with a pair of Jordans on. It's crazy, man. And then you had Roy Jones Jr. had the RJJs, and they were like boxer shoes, and it was a lot of boxers wore the RJJs, and that's how big Roy was. Like, people don't realize how big Roy was back in the day. Gary Payton actually wore Jordans, even though he competed against Roy. He wore Jordans. Who else? Big men like centers. They never. Their sneakers never pop. They never pop. But another thing about the sneaker game is like people don't realize how hard it is to actually be an athlete and actually get into it, because the sneaker actually has to look good, has to be comfortable. Like I have a pair of LeBrons. Those things are comfortable. The ones I have. I have a pair of I have two pair of Jordans. What else? That's it. I just have other stuff that I wear. I have a pair of Pumas. That's another pair of sneakers. I believe who had a contract with Puma? Vince Carter did at first. Then he went to Nike. Serena Williams. She endorsed Puma for a little bit. Then she went to Nike. That shoe game is extremely powerful. I remember the first pair of Adidas I ever had was Stan Smith, and I remember getting made fun of for that. They said, "Oh, those aren't Adidas." I was like, "Yeah, they're Adidas, right?" No, those aren't Adidas. You got to get these, the ones with the shells and everything. Run DMC, and they actually realized how they was giving props to Adidas, and at first they wasn't even getting paid, and they said, "Hold up, we doing free advertising," and they ended up getting a contract with Adidas after that. But they had to, of course, they had to sell my Adidas, and which is a whole nother talk about commercialism and materialism in the black community. But but that was like that was a big deal at the time. And another thing about the shoe game is Derek Derek, oh jeez, from Chicago, played for the Bulls. Can't remember his last name now, but he signed a deal with Adidas, and his deal was a really intricate, dope deal. Where as long as he was on an NBA contract, as long as he had an NBA contract, as long as he was on the team, he got $1 million a year from Adidas, and that really opened up a lot of people's eyes. Like, oh, we could really get some money out of this, and it's cool to see rookies come in. And so I remember LeBron James signing that. I want to say it was $50 million from it was either 50 million or 100 million. I can't remember the exact, but no matter what, it was a lot of money. There's more money than he ever saw, more money than probably any of us ever saw. And I remember the pain that he went through, and he found out real fast how jealous people can get. They can love you one minute, then be jealous of you the next. You know, somebody once told me, people want to see you do good as long as you're not doing better than them. So keep that in mind. That shoe game though. That shoe game. My son has a pair of Currys. I got it for him for basketball. Last summer, right? Last summer he was playing basketball. He wanted to play basketball. And it's pretty cool. Also, growing up, I remember having a pair of Georgetown Nikes. It was the same Nikes that the Georgetown Hoyas wore. It was Georgetown with the I believe Alonzo Mourning. I believe Alonzo Mourning played on that team. Was it Alonzo Mourning? No. It was earlier than that. It was some years before that, because that's when I was in high school. Alonzo Mourning was on that team. It was before I was younger, and I wore them things so much I put a hole in the bottom. So those were dope. That's when everybody thought that Georgetown was a HBCU pretty much, because the whole Georgetown team was pretty much a black basketball team. But that sneakerhead thing is real. It's real in the NBA. It's real anywhere, because I know people that buy these sneakers. And one of my good friends back in Philly, he'll buy a pair of sneakers. He'll wear one pair, then he'll buy the same other pair, and then put them in his closet, and won't even touch them. I'll be like, man. I was like, oh, to me, it's not that serious, but to them, some people, it really is. Since I've been talking, I've been thinking, thoughts been running into my head. Like, I wonder how Steph is going to really do this, because there's a guy that has his own sneaker store, and he's pretty popular. It's called Side Collective, and he worked with Kyrie for a little bit to create a signature shoe for Kyrie. I actually didn't like the design that they came up with. I like the one he did for Montreal. I think his name is Montreal Harris. I like the ones he did for him better. Like, and the ones he did for him was really dope. And I just believe if he could if he got with if he got with Steph, which is just did the designs and stuff like that with him, I think that'd be dope. You know, just to help out a black business. You know, to support, because Steph Curry's at the point where he could do that and not get too much shade thrown at him. And this guy Side Collective, he has some pretty dope stuff. He has some pretty really nice things. But it's not, he doesn't, I mean, he has us, the regular folks, supporting him, but I mean, if he got like a Steph Curry endorsement, man, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. I mean, you'll see like Steph Curry's wife Aisha wearing them, you know, the kids wearing them. It's dope. And Steph Curry has a big enough name, and Steph only probably has about what, probably about what, 3 more years left in him. I mean, because what he does is being the type of shooter he is, the greatest shooter that we ever seen. He could play longer than that actually, and just be a sniper if he wanted to with Golden State, because he's going to finish his career in Golden State. I mean, he's the only one that they drafted that deserves that. I mean, Draymond doesn't even deserve that. I mean, Draymond's a wild character. He called Dak Prescott a bum. I mean, that was wild when he did that. But Steph is he's that guy. He's 100% that guy. So just to see him be able to do this and not have any blowback, he's pretty much doing the same thing that Allison Felix did. You know, Allison Felix thing was a little bit more negative because, she had a baby. She was going through some issues, and Nike just dropped her and said she was no longer valuable, and she started her own her own standalone shoe called Safe, and it's actually done well. It's actually done extremely well, and she's one of my favorite athletes, and it's good to see her. It's good to see her doing well, and taking advantage of this shoe market, because not only the men, the women are getting into it as well. Asia Wilson, her shoe has sold really well. Angel Reese's shoe has sold really well. And then, Caitlin Clark, when her shoe drops, it's going to sell well. And don't forget Juju Watkins. I mean, as soon as she come out, she can come out with a shoe deal right now, because they can make money while in college. So that's going to do well. So, I mean, with Asia Wilson winning, the league's most valuable player, defensive player of the year, and Finals MVP, first player to ever do any of that. That just bolstered her. That just bolster her gangster right there. Just put it out there, and showed you she's the greatest women's basketball player on the planet, and helped her shoe sales. I mean, a lot of young ladies are purchasing that shoe. I mean, and you can't take that away from. You can't take that away from her. Not at all, and nor should we. But we're going to take a break, and we're going to get into talking about the New York Football Giants. Yeah. We're going to get into the Giants. Talk about Saquon Barkley, Jackson Dart, Shador Sanders, stuff like that. Yes, we are back. We are going to get into Brian Daboll, who was fired from the New York Giants. Now, Brian Daboll, for quite some time, he has been not doing not such a good job. But he did get to the playoffs that one year. I remember that. I remember that because that was the year the Eagles actually beat them in the playoffs, and that's when we went and played the Kansas City Chiefs that first time and lost. But I remember I was like, oh, this guy, he's gonna be around, and then all of a sudden he just was having those bad seasons, and it didn't help that he lost Saquon Barkley. The Philadelphia Eagles ended up getting Saquon Barkley. And then they end up winning the Super Bowl. That's bad within your own division. That's bad. They go out and they get Russell Wilson, who didn't do so good. They put Jackson Dart in, who started to do good, but then he ended up getting 4 concussions. He was putting this young kid into hot water, into dangerous position. He was getting ready to turn him into. I don't know if y'all remember. When Tua was getting all those concussions. Y'all remember that? That was bad. That was bad, and that's something that you don't want to see from he's in his rookie year. That added to it, and they have Jameis Winston playing, which people are surprised they didn't go to Russell Wilson, but I was like, Jameis Winston, he's high risk, low reward. High risk, low reward, man. Jameis Winston, I remember when he played in college. I believe it was with Florida State. And I remember this, and I remember I remember when he got drafted by Tampa Bay. I remember when they was getting ready to bring in Tom Brady. I was like, oh man, Jameis Winston can play behind him. And I was like, maybe if he just take a pay cut, play behind him. And they end up trading him to the New Orleans Saints. I was like, man. And that was his chance to get a ring. So but who knows how that could have worked out. I mean, who knows? But I just remember that, and then I remember Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, man, he was not good with the Giants, but now he's balling out. He's balling out with the Indianapolis Colts. Now everybody's like, dang, you got 2 players that balling out. It looks like if Indianapolis keeps this up, that they're going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. If they keep it up, Kansas City is not the Kansas City that they used to be. I believe Travis Kelce's done for the season. They're not the Kansas City they used to be, but Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes can pull it off. I mean, he's Patrick Mahomes, boy. I mean, that dude is ridiculous. Now, this is what I will hit on. Shedeur Sanders. A lot of people thought the Giants should have took him. However, this might be the best thing for him because, man, that guy would have probably been comatose. Because, he's not the runner that Jackson Dart is. And I'm noticing that Jackson Dart is getting away with little things that Shedeur wouldn't have been able to get away with, like celebrating like he's shooting dice and stuff like that. Oh, man, no. Shedeur would have got flame broiled if he would have did something like that. But I know they have an interim coach. I'm interested in seeing who they are going to put into that position. I'm interested to see who they're going to put in that position for the coach for the New York Giants, because since Tom Coughlin, they've had some coaches. They had Joe Judge. I remember Joe Judge. I remember Joe Judge and DABOLL. The other ones, I believe it was 2 more in there. and it just hasn't been good. And I remember when the people were talking about the Eagles should hire Coughlin, but Coughlin does have 2 Super Bowl rings. You can't take that away from him. But I just remember Coughlin on the sideline, just cussing out his punter when the Eagles came back from 4 touchdowns down. They call that miracle at the Meadowlands too. When the last touchdown to win the game was Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson, he returned that punt, and that was crazy. I remember this one dude. He's a Giants fan. He posted on Facebook. I worked with him in the Air Force, and he said, "You know, I know y'all talking this trash, but I can rest knowing that my team got 4 Super Bowls." You know, so he said that. You know, it's funny. You know what's funny about that? People used to always tell us that as Eagles fans, I ain't got no Super Bowls. Talk to me when you win a Super Bowl. We win a Super Bowl. It's like, oh man, talk to me when you win 2 more Super Bowls. You know, they keep. Well, you told me to talk to you when we win a Super Bowl. I'm talking to you now. Then you move to go part. Then we win our second one. No. You got to do this and this. You know, it's funny, boy. It was hard being a Philly fan. That, you know, it just really was. And everybody hate us, and they say everybody hate us, and we don't care. You know. But man, Giants fans, I like one of my best friends in Philadelphia, man, my man Troy, big time Dallas fan. And I mean not Dallas, big time Giants fan. He used to always say "Hell Eli" and all that, and I used to be like, ah man, you know, and he would be like, and he would always say, he would just always say that, and he was one of the ones. He's like, yo, thank God we're getting rid of DABOLL. I remember last time we played. I remember when the Giants beat us that first time this season. And he was telling the other Giants fans, okay, so what? We beat the Eagles, okay? It's a division game. You know, division games are tough. You can get one on somebody. The second time we played them, we thoroughly beat them. And he was like, he said, man, it was third. He said it was 3rd and 30, and you let the backup running back run for 31 yards to get a first down. He said, we are a bad team. He's like, he was killing it. However, but here's the bright thing, the bright thing, you all, about this. I say chill out on Jackson Dart for just watch the season. Just play Jameis Winston, whatever. Don't even bring Jackson Dart back. Let him rest up. Let him heal up. Bring him back next year. Let him be started. Let Russell Wilson go. Let Russell Wilson go. And if Jameis Winston wants to still be there, he can be there. He'd be the backup for Jackson Dart. And Scatterboo will come back. There you go. You just build around that. They got Malik Neighbors. That's a really good wide receiver. You know, they have Wendell. They got him, another good wide receiver, and just build from there. Get the offensive line together, because you know you got to build it from offensive line, defensive line. You got to build with in the trenches. So do that, and we'll see. We'll see. You know, my Eagles will still be there, and hopefully we could still be making some noise. I'm not terribly thrilled with the way they playing now, but then, you know, when they say when you can win ugly, that means you can win. And that was an ugly game on Monday. Definitely ugly game on Monday. So they need a quarterback whisperer for Jackson Dart, because, you know, when he comes out of that pocket, he's a runner. He has to know how to slide and stuff like that. You know, lowering your shoulder and doing all this stuff. I mean, these are grown men you're dealing with in that secondary, man. You're going to get lit up. I mean, I remember Brian Dawkins back in there. Oh, you want to lower your shoulder? You're going to light your quarterback up. Man. It's like, come on now. Don't, you know. Remember Sean Teller, God rest his soul. Sean Teller did that to that punter in the Pro Bowl. He did that to him. That was that was crazy. Now, what else was crazy this past weekend was that Bethune-Cookman Grambling State brawl. Now, the thing about that is we as black people need to chill this out. You know, I get it for the culture and everything, but you know, something, you know, when there's an adult in the room, you need to act like an adult. The coach doesn't need to be like, well, if you bring disrespect to me, I'll bring it back to you. Nah. Come on now. The adults have to calm things down. And if it gets out of hand to that point, you gotta let law officials, state troopers come in and say, hey, stop this. You know, and when you say stuff like this, people like to say, oh man, you're a sellout, you this, you that. Nah, this stuff like this sets us back. Because look, HBCUs, we're always saying that they need money. We need money. We need people to support. You know, when I looked at the video of it, you know, I saw one of the band members going like this, going like shrugging his shoulders, like, yo, what is going on? The band member, they was up in the stands, and then you see it wasn't that many people at the game, so you're like, yo, what are y'all doing? You know, you want people to come to the games, you want people to support, you want to get money, but the sponsors are not going to sign off on this buffoonery. They're not going to sign off on it. Like, you're acting like a bunch of like gang members, and I'm not trying to disrespect gang members or anything like that, but come on, you are college students, you are future professionals. A lot of you guys on that field are not going to go to the NFL, so you are future professionals, you're future doctors, lawyers, future throw something else out there, like doctors, lawyers, politicians. You know, and this is what you're acting like. Come on, y'all. Come on, we can do better. We can do better. This is an extremely bad look. And for that coach to get up there and speak like that, it's wrong. I wouldn't want my son to play. My son plays flag right now. But I know if my son gets good, I wouldn't want my son playing for that coach. Talking about like it got that brawl was so out of hand. It got to the point if you was just trying to break stuff up, you was just chill. And trust me, I've been in some brawls like that in college fights like that, where you just chill and then you end up getting punched in the face because the people that you're fighting against just looking to hit somebody. You know, like, so that's the type of brawl. It was out of hand. You know, like to be that out of hand. It's just horrible. You know, you have people watching that like, I don't want to go to that school. I don't want to play for that coach. I don't want to play for those teams. You know, trust me, you probably have some people saying that. Maybe not all, but some people saying that. It's just a bad look, and I expect an adult to respond better than what he did. Now, when I was in my 20s, yeah, I would have responded like, yeah, that's how you go out and do that, woo-de-woo, you know, but now I'm almost 50 years old, and I'm like, hey, you know, that's not what's it. Like, look, I'm telling you now, like, as an almost 50-year-old man, I hear another 50-year-old man talking about, yo, you disrespect me, I gotta disrespect you back, because the excuse was you're in a space that we're supposed to occupy or something like that, like, oh, if another 50-year-old man says that to me, I'm like, hold on, man, come on now. That's not what we doing. You know, be like, come on now. You know, trust me, I've seen older men act like that in front of their children. You like, ain't nobody trying to fight. Come on now. Like, it's just it's just bewildering. It really is, and it's a shame. I know Cam Newton spoke on it. And so did Deshaun Jackson. They both spoke on it. Deshaun Jackson said, you know, as a coach, it's no room in the game for this type of behavior. You know, and Cam Newton pretty much said the same thing. You know, I hate to say this, but because I don't agree with everything this one person puts out there. Well, I don't agree with a lot of people with a lot of stuff. I don't 100% agree. But Jason Whitlock, he really commended Deshaun Jackson and Cam Newton, and on what they had to say, you know, and it, it's 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 just a shame. 'Cause these were young men. These were young men um, that was out there. These were future parents, future fathers, and these are young men that will eventually have sons and daughters if they don't already have some. And you have to teach your children about how to conduct themselves in public. Anybody out here, and I'm not trying to trump the black card or anything like that, but anybody out here, you all know the you all know the way we were brought up, and they say like old school people would always say, "You acting a fool. You acting a fool in front of these white folk." You know, I'm not gonna say it like that. I'm saying you acting a fool in front of people in general. You know, people have to realize when you're a black person, you have to be above reproach. You have to be above all these things because you have to show that you can conduct yourself. You know, and it's 100% true. And if you don't believe me, just ask Michael Vick, who's the coach of the HBCU. Ask him, you know, about what he went through. Ask Deshaun Jackson, where he got pretty much blamed for pretty much being a gang member when he wasn't, being gang related when he wasn't, and he got cut from a team, got cut from the Eagles by Chip Kelly. You know, ask Von Miller, who had an argument with his, I believe it was his girlfriend, and had all these domestic things pop up, but they didn't report on I think his name Joshua Giddey, and he was allegedly dealing with an underage girl, but nobody reported on that. But they dang sure reported on Von Miller, though. You know, it's like, so you're just like, you realize that you have to be above reproach, and that's when your parents come in, especially your black fathers, be like, hey, stop this nonsense, stop it, and to see what happened on that football field, see what transpired on that football field was a shame. And some of those players should get some of their stuff revoked. But that's just not how you conduct yourself. That and much more in the second hour. We will kick it off once again in the second hour and see you on the other side. All right, y'all.